I am 59 years old and the story happened when I was 7 years old. At that time we were still living with my grandfather. My grandfather had a farm. There are many happy memories there. There were many small animals on the farm and I loved to play with them. My favorite was one of my grandfather's sheepdogs, which was very smart. In spring, the farm was surrounded by wild flowers. I often play in the grass. I really like chrysanthemums, especially the wild ones. I saw that the hillside across the road was full of flowers. I was ready to walk through the grass to the opposite hillside. Suddenly, I stopped, and I startled a gray and black viper. It curled its tail into a circle, and its upper body stood straight up with both eyes fixed on me. I was terrified, but I knew that I could not move easily. As I tried to cry out for help, I felt pain. The snake moved away quickly and two very small red spots appeared on my right foot. I let out a scream and I knew death was approaching. I tried to walk up the steep hill, but my movement became so difficult that I fell to the grass. At this time, my grandfather came running down the hill. I didn't want to scare him, I just said calmly, "A snake bit me." But he knew how serious it was. He sat down next to me, took off his short black sleeve and wrapped it tightly around my leg so that it would slow the flow of blood to my heart. He put my left foot to his mouth and began sucking out the venom. I was already fading in and out of consciousness. My grandfather carried me into the house and gently laid me on the bed. I began to vomit non-stop. My consciousness was getting fuzzy under the effect of the venom. I don't know how long it took, but I saw two doctors treating me. They decided to give me a vaccine. When the vaccine was injected into my body, I fell into a coma. The coma lasted for 3 days. During the coma, I realized that I had left this space. I saw a beautiful woman whom I would like to call a guardian angel. She was hovering above the room and she greeted me. She was so beautiful that I could see her clearly. She shone with an extremely bright light. This light was amazing and made me feel very warm. I also learned many things. The love she gave me was so powerful that I understood that this love is what saves humanity. We must care for each other in a world full of sorrow. After leaving my body, I began to float in her direction. She smiled and made a gesture of rejection. She told me, "You can't stay with her yet. You have to learn to be strong and you have to share this love to more people. You will now return to life. You still have a lot to learn and a lot to accomplish. My love will always be with you, never forget it." I returned to my body and I felt the pain again. I was in bed for a week. My legs were swollen very large, which scared me, and the color looked very nasty. I hated being back here. After I recovered, I learned that an adult can only survive a venomous snake bite for 20 minutes, and I lasted over an hour without the serum. My grandmother had applied several herbs to my leg, which helped. After the swelling went down, I was finally able to get back on my feet. People said it was a miracle that I survived. I learned to walk with a cane, but it took 3 months for my body to return to normal. When I was 17, I became eccentric and didn't like to interact with people. No one really understood me. I couldn't share my feelings with anyone. I wanted to return to the light, to the arms of an angel. But she never came back. There was a picture of Maria hanging on the wall of my grandmother's house, and it reminded me of her. I often spoke to it, hoping she would speak to me or give me a sign. My teenage years were neither happy nor good. I became more and more rebellious, and my father and I fought a lot. I also resented my father very much because I rarely saw him. By the time I was 20, my life had not gotten better, but worse. My desire to return to the light became even stronger. I wanted to end it all. I found some rat poison in the pantry. I took all the rat poison. Within 2 minutes, I started to feel severe pain. I kept vomiting and lost consciousness. My family found me and took me to the local hospital. The doctor gave me a gastric lavage. After I recovered physically, I returned home under the supervision of a psychiatrist. A few months later, I wanted to try again. This time I chose sleeping pills. I didn't want to feel the pain before I died. While I was taking all the sleeping pills and quietly waiting for death, a classmate wanted to come and find me to go swimming with him. When he opened the door, he found me lying in bed with no signs of life. He took me to the nearest hospital. From the moment I took the sleeping pills to the moment I arrived at the hospital, it was about 2 hours. The doctor had just wheeled me into the emergency room and I was once again out of my body. I floated there for a while, and I saw doctors and nurses working busily, which I was no longer interested in. I became very relaxed now, and I was finally free. I noticed a tunnel next to me, and at the end of it there was a bright light. Without hesitation, I entered the tunnel. In the tunnel, I got faster and faster and eventually reached the light. This feeling was all too familiar, and I was enjoying my current state very much. Suddenly, I heard a man's voice, but I couldn't see where he was. He told me sternly that I had to go back and finish my work. I didn't have a chance to talk to him and was sent back. There was nothing I could do to stop this from happening. When I returned to my hospital bed, one of the nurses acted very surprised. Because she thought I was dead. I later learned that my heart stopped for 10 minutes and the doctors were about to give up on me. When my vitals returned, they removed the tubes and needles from me. They quickly resumed their work. For the next few hours, I was sad. I felt like a prisoner in a prisoner's body. I also learned what my mission was, as the angel had said, to pass this love on to more people. From that day on, I never considered suicide again. This experience changed my life. I stopped fighting the world and tried to pass on the love I received to those around me.